It's all up to me now. Rest well, crazy old man.
Hello and welcome to our video review of Orcs Must Die. This is a tower defense game made by Robot Entertainment, and the first thing that should stick out to you is that this game is played not from a bird's eye view, but rather from a third person over the shoulder. In case you're not familiar with the genre, tower defense is pretty simple. You have enemies spawning at point A, and your mission is to keep them from getting to point B. As suggested by the title, the enemy you're defending your tower from is an endless horde of orcs, and you are trying to prevent them from getting into a rift to portal back into the human world. You'll win each round by making sure the orcs don't take too many rift points from you, and they can do this in a couple of ways. First is by killing you, which will take away 5 rift points, and you'll lose some every time an enemy makes it through. The big enemies are worth more rift points, so you have to be extra careful not to let them get in. If too many make it through, you're going to have to start the round over and rebuild your defenses from scratch. And there are a couple different ways the game will make this a challenge for you. First, they will increase the number of doors the orcs spawn at and give them multiple paths to go down. They will also start adding in some pretty tough bad guys to take out. And they require a few extra special tactics to make sure they get down. Now some of them are just bigger, meaner, and uglier, and they'll take a few extra hit points. They're also going to throw in some flying enemies, so that if you see them coming, you're going to want to make sure you have a little something extra in your arsenal just for them. Some of the enemies will just run straight at you and explode. Don't worry though, you've got all the right tools for the job. You start off with a crossbow and a blade staff. Now the crossbow you have to take with you every time, but really you won't mind. Each level you'll also unlock a wide variety of traps that you can set up on the floor, walls, and ceiling, and this is where most of your killing power comes from. The most effective strategy though will be combining these things to work together. The secondary fire on your crossbow is an area of effect stun, which is really nice because a lot of your traps need to reset. Several maps also have some built-in traps, but you won't rely on these most of the time, with a few exceptions. You'll also have some magic spells to equip if you like. You can control your enemies with wind or ice. You can also deal some pretty massive damage by using fire and lightning. Personally, my favorite ability was to summon archers. The maps provide a lot of elevated ground for them anyway, and really they just allow you to control another area while they do a lot of work. Though I will admit I did get carried away at times. About halfway through the game you'll be allowed to call upon the weavers. These two will allow you to pick a skill tree that you can go down to really define which way you're going to play the game, whether you're going to rely on traps and your archers, or whether you're going to use your weapons and spells as your primary focus. You have a limited number of skills that you can take with you, and not everything's right for each area. This makes it especially important in the later areas to get a good look around before you decide on which skill tree and arsenal you want to take with you. Put all together, these elements make for some incredibly fun gameplay. Things get really intense later on in the game, and you find yourself rushing back and forth frantically, just making sure you can stop each last orc. Though I'll admit I did get a really big laugh out of taking these really strong traps back into an early level, and just sitting back and watching the mayhem. After all, we wouldn't want the orcs to lose their discipline, now would we? The only thing I could suggest to improve this game would be some multiplayer, but even without it, you're going to get a lot of replay value, not only out of the rating system for each level, but also by unlocking the Nightmare difficulty once you finish the story. The $15 price tag is just right for this game. You're going to get a lot of laughs out of it. You're also going to be thumping your chest at the end of the really hard levels. But this is the point where you should stop listening to me and just go download it. I promise you will enjoy.